Well, hey family, this is Darlene. Wanted to stop by like really quick. I got a couple of days off, so I'm just being free. But anyway, in our little Bible class this morning, we do Bible classes by Zoom. We were talking about the book of Acts. So we were specifically targeting the book of Acts, the second chapter. And the question came up about the church. And let me give you some background. So in the book of Acts, the second chapter, it's all about people being converted to believers. Peter had did a sermon. A lot of people became believers. 3,000, then 2,000, and then there were a lot of people becoming believers. So as they became believers, they would fellowship. They were always fellowshipping. They would be fellowshipping in the court, in each other's houses. They would be eating of bread, drinking, just this entire fellowship thing, right? Not only were they just fellowshipping, they were selling of possessions that they had to make sure that other believers were taken care of. So if you were a believer and you didn't have enough of something to sustain yourself, other believers would be selling off things to help believers, which was the immediate body, the body of believers, right? So the question was presented, why do you think specifically they were asking all of us, about 20 people, on the call, on the Zoom Bible class, why do you individually as a person, what is your belief to why, what you believe that the church, why the church is not like the church in the book of Acts in the sense of fellowshipping, charity one with the other, and the excitement of being a believer, right? So you already know. You already know I have something to say about that, especially about modern day, today's churches as a body of people within buildings. Now, this is only my belief. I don't know about nobody else. My belief, my observations, my perception, just my experiences from what I see. What I see. So, from my grandmother's time and people from that time, to me, they were true believers. Like they really, truly understood and were convicted when it came to being a believer and a worshiper of God. Now, were those people perfect? Not at all, but they were good people that believed in God and did the best that they can do at that time to walk in Christ and to be God like, to be God like or Christ like, right? From what I can remember with my people. That's how we knew about the church. That's how we know how to be believers. That's how I learned what sin is. The minister would say, "Well, sin is you can't watch videos, you can't eat certain foods, you can't go to different places, you can't wear this." And my grandmother would say, "Sin is transgression of God's laws. Come here, let me show you. And all transgression of God's law is this: not to kill, not to steal, not to." So she taught us those things, right? I mean, we learned those, and then we had our Big Mama, and Big Mama was my grandmother's mother. So Big Mama would teach us things about the church too. So it's not like we were blind in the church, right? So we had good people that were true believers that taught us things. So we weren't blind, in our faith or our worship. So I go forward. I do believe that you have bodies of people that are the seed from previous believers, right? That have never been taught really what it is to be a true Christian or a true believer. Okay. So you have people that have grown up in the church body, within the body, within a building. The building is the building. Within the building is the body, which are believers, which are the church, right? Which are the church. So each body of people that are in buildings is the body of Christ that fitly joins together if they are on one accord with doctrine and spirituality. Okay. So I just believe that many people that are within the body have not been taught. I think they've been taught tradition. I don't think that they've been taught Christianity in the sense of what it looks like as an individual person, not as a family unit. That's important, but as an individual who truly believes in Christ, right? So, what I see, this is just me, what I see is a bunch of people that have been grounded and taught to be socialites, right? Pretty much loving and adoring the world and all its social activities and its entertainment. The church and your worship is just something that you do. That's just extra and it's something. Oh, you go to church? Yeah, I go to church on Sundays. It's like a status. It's like it's an adornment of some kind to say that you go to church and you know, not even understanding what church is. That church is the body, it's not the building. And I guarantee you, you can ask people right now today what the church is, and those people have been in the body, which is the church. The body of people is a church. The building is only where you go worship, right? There's people that have been in the body forever, and they still can't explain it to you that way. Okay. So also said, why do I believe that the churches of today are not anything like the churches or the believers in the book of Acts 2? First of all, is because you have people that have been born and bred to be socialites, not to be Christ-like, not to have a heart of charity, right? They have not been taught the importance of the upbuilding of the church. They've been taught the importance of the upbuild of material things, right? So that's what they are. That's what they come from. And you can't ask people to be anything other than what they are. So when you look at it across the board, a lot of people, because of careers, big houses, the car, and there is nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with that, but everything has its place, right? So when all of those things become more important than your walk with Christ, you're out of alignment. And I do believe a lot of people, when you look in the body right now today, a lot of those people have kind of settled in the churches, within the buildings, right, in the body, because now they're older. You're too old to be out there doing things that you were doing before. You're too old to be Mr. San Diego. You're too old to be a part of the NAACP board. You're too old to be, you know, just doing things that you were doing and being a part of that whole social scene 40 years ago. You're too old now. They don't want you. They want young blood. They want young minds, right? So now you're old head, basically in the different bodies, right? With the different bodies or churches. Now you up in there and they got you as a part of the board, right? So now they're part of the board, okay? The people that make decisions regarding the church. And I have no problem with the hierarchy that God has laid down from the foundation of the world, that man is over the woman, and then man has put, because of her disobedience, right? I have no problem with that. I have no problem with the man. And I think many times, well, not many times, a lot of times, you know, I believe in that. I believe in the man being the head if he's able to be a head and he's able to lead. You know, a lot of these men can't lead. They have no idea what leadership is even all about. And leadership starts with responsibility. It starts with responsibility and accountability, right? So if you don't have neither one of those, guess what? How can you be a leader? You don't know anything about leadership. So what you do is you operate in your emotion. So now you think you're leading something, but you're not, right? So I said all that to say, when we bounce back to the church in Acts 2, The reason why I believe people, I know I took the long way around, but I do believe because people do not have a heart of charity. People do not understand what it is or why it is to have a heart of charity. People do not understand why it is or why they should be charitable to those in the body first. And there should be so much charity within the body of believers, like in the book of Acts, where they sold off property, sold off things, right? Nobody is saying sell off anything that you have, because I'm sure many of us have an abundance. We have extra what we can do things for people, right? So within the church, within the body, they don't have a heart of charity. You can't ask one of these people in any, well, no, we'll not take that back too. There's a couple of people that are really good hearted and they really truly do understand what it is and why it is. But as a whole, you can't. And then in some situations, in some of these bodies, you have men that sitting on boards, they don't have a heart of charity. They're very cynical. They're very negative when it comes to anything that has to do with the upbuilding of the body. It's for the upbuilding of the body. It's not for anything or anybody else, but for the upbuilding of the body. The body within, the people within can benefit. And it's not just the immediate body, where we might be, it's for the body as a whole, right? But some people can't see past right here. This is as far as they can see. They can't see past right here, right? So what does that do? It stagnates the church. It stagnates. So then you look up, and my whole thing too is, if a church does not believe in anything other than just being a Christian, and coming on Sunday mornings and coming on Sunday nights, and doing your regular Bible class and maybe doing your little prayer meetings and whatever it is that you do, that's all there is. There ain't no more. What do you really believe in? Where's the work, right? Where's the work? And if you don't believe in anything outside of whatever that little bit is that you're doing, what really good are you, other than to be tossed up under the feet of men and be trodden upon? It's like it don't even make no sense. So my whole thing is what I was saying to them. People don't have a heart. People don't have a heart to help. People don't have a heart to be an assistant to. People don't care about even people within the body. And you got people within the body that won't even go to their own church heads if they needed help. And those people might go to them buildings every single Sunday, Sunday morning, Sunday night, whenever their Bible classes is. They might volunteer for stuff, put their money in on Sunday and all that good stuff. And yet they won't go to the body for anything. You know why? Because they don't want their business in the street. That's why. They don't want their business in the street. So I was having a conversation with Friend, and Friend is a minister, and Friend has a congregation of over 300 people. So I was having a conversation with him about, like how do you do that? How do you guys do that? When you have a member that comes to you all and they're in need of something. And he was saying, well, the treasurer, that's the head of everything. So what happens is when a person comes in, a member, to his particular, that as his church, request form is submitted. Once they submit the request form, it goes to the treasurer. So the treasurer goes through, is this a regular member? Does the member give offering? Are they faithful? This whole everything that the treasurer does first. And then once the treasurer does all that, then the chairman of the board and the minister, they all three come together. This is what he said. This is how they do it, their congregation. They all three come together. And when they come together, they make the decision to help. So I said, well, what happens though if it's somebody that that's not a regular member? So they're not a regular member, and you do have some type of record, like, well, they've given money, or they done showed up, or whatever it is, right? He said we will help them, and we will help them one time, but we don't continue to help them. right? And I was saying there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think that you should keep helping people, and I don't think that's what people want. He said, but there have been cases where we have regular members, where regular members will come to us. He said, especially during COVID, where regular members have lost jobs. You know, they have a lot of things have happened, and we have helped a lot of people. But we helped those people because they were one, they were faithful. They are regular and faithful members, and two, they are they give their offerings, right? So we would be wrong. This is friend saying this to me. He said, well, we would be wrong not to help those people. So again, I said, well, what about the people, that are not regular members and they might be, passing the night type of members? He said, we evaluate every situation. He said, every single situation we evaluate, we look over, we talk it over. And if it makes sense, we will help somebody. And if it's a certain amount of money, we won't give them the whole amount. We will give them half or percentage or something. And I said, to me, that makes a lot of good sense. That makes a lot of good sense to me, because that means that you guys are helping people. There's a purpose and a reason for everything that they do, according to what he said to me. That's probably why they got over 300 people in their congregation. And he said, well, Darlene, don't get me wrong. We're not taking care of people. And I said, well, no, babe, I understand that. I know you're not taking care of people. It sounds like you guys are helping people, like you have the right mindset, according to Acts 2. It sounds like you have the right mindset, and that's the whole thing. And I don't think any person with good sense is coming to the church and saying, hey, can you take care of me? I don't think that's what it is. I think sometimes people get into situations and they're trying their hardest to get out of that financial situation. And for some reason, it's just not working out for them right now. But they got faith and they're knowing, okay, this is going to get better no matter what, because everything that I'm doing on my side, I'm doing to make it better, in addition to having faith in God. And I'm a strong believer and a witness to that. When God comes through, God comes through. He don't be playing. When he come through, he come through. So it's just up to us to stay faithful. But in the meantime, people should be able to go to their body and be able to get assistance, just like how the people were in the book of Acts chapter 2. But anyway, it was a really long discussion that we had. That was like almost 2 hours we were on there talking, just having some really good conversation. And my whole thing is, if you don't have people that have charitable hearts and people that don't understand what the church is and why the church is, it's like, what's the whole purpose? People can sit up in any building every morning, every night, anytime the doors is open, and be just as callous and cold and, heartless. And what difference, what does it make? And a lot of these people are in these situations as leaders, and they're not leaders. A slug has more leadership than a lot of these people that I've seen in a lot of these places that are a part of boards, and just across the board, just places. And it's not even just a church. It's just like all over the place. I'm like, how are they leaders when they don't even have the mindset of a leader? They don't know the first thing to do as leaders. It's like, okay, somebody needs to go look up leadership, start with the scriptures, and then go look in the dictionary and then find out what a leader is. And then, are you really a leader? Can you even think in the terms of leadership? And a lot of people can't do that. A lot of men can't do that. I think that's why in some congregations you have women that are they're being ministers now. They're doing all kind of stuff, and I don't agree with none of that kind of stuff. I don't, but I do see why in many cases people just say, okay, well, because a lot of these people, that's in positions where they're supposed to be leaders, they're not leaders. They don't know nothing about being a leader. They cynical. They just, and I don't even like to use the word stupid, but some people just stupid. And that's all to it. They're stupid. They can't see past, I got mine, you get yours, type of situation. And that's the mentality in a lot of churches too. But anyway, we had a really good conversation this morning. We always be having some good conversations. Y'all already know I'm gonna be doing my little, I was looking because I got messages coming up here across the top. I got oh, okay, I see you. That's good stuff. I see you. Okay, no sooner than I log off, I see you. Okay. But anyway, that's what we were talking about. Good stuff this morning. Really good stuff. But by the time, we got off of that little call and stuff, and it really amazes me to hear other people's thoughts about what they think about things. And it is a Bible class, is what we be, this is what it is that I be logging into on these different days. And then my regular Bible class here in San Diego on Thursdays, that's a different Bible class. But these other ones I be doing, it's not even San Diego. It's people from like kind of all over the place. And just to hear the different thoughts, that people have from, just their experience as a child of God, being a part of the body, just like all of that. And I just be thinking to myself sometime like, wow. And there are times that I have thought to myself, I refuse to just be useless. I want to say I refuse to be useless, because many times you're not able. I don't even know if it's you're not able. Many times I don't think that people are receptive and willing to be active when it comes to work within the body. I do know from experience that, people will say, well, that's a good idea. Well, let's do it. That's good stuff. But then when it comes down to the work, you can't find people. So then what happens is you get accused of, kind of being a lone ranger. Well, if you've asked people and had conversations with people on the phone or maybe in person or however it is, and people will say, oh, well, keep me in mind for the next time, or, oh, well, I don't really think, nobody want to hear that. That's what I'm saying. I don't think people don't have a heart, because that's not what they were born and raised in. And you can't ask people that's, a certain age that has not done something for 20 or 30 years to now do something. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it because they're used to not doing anything. And then also, too, there's no benefit in it for them. There's no benefit. But as soon as there's some benefit in it for them, oh, they gung ho. They got the truck, they got the check, they got everything ready for it, right? But if it does not benefit them in an up close and personal type of way, people ain't trying to do nothing for nobody. But I think that's one of a main reason why we're not like the church in Acts 2. Selfishness, socialite mentality, um, lack of understanding what Christianity and being Christ-like is all about. But this video is longer than I expected it to be. But guess what, folks? This is my new word. Stay whole, and we'll talk.